Ever been in the woods and heard something that made your blood run cold? This story actually happened to me. I'm a grown man, not my first time in the woods, and even I was freaked out. Our group of 4 was combing through a specific area of the forest. An old lady from a nearby village had gone missing. She went out to pick mushrooms and had been gone for over a day. Our job was to call out her name loudly and then stop to listen, hoping she'd respond. We kept walking, shouting, "Nancy!" Then we'd listen, but Nancy didn't respond. We continued on, calling and listening. As it started to get dark, I reached for my flashlight. Suddenly, I heard a voice in the distance. I immediately signaled to my team, thinking it might be the old lady. We stopped and I shouted, "Nancy!" The voice replied, "Nancy!" I picked up my pace, running toward the voice. "Where are you, Nancy?" I shouted. From behind some bushes, I heard a loud response. "Where are you?" I yelled back, "I'm here, coming to you." But something felt off. The voice wasn't like an old lady's. It wasn't clear if it was male or female. It seemed like it was just repeating my words. It was like hearing your own voice played back on a recording. I shook off the eerie feeling and was about to continue searching the bushes when I heard it again, loud and close. "Where are you? I'm here." I swear on my life it was my voice, with my exact intonation just jumbled up. At that moment, my partner came running up behind me, out of breath, asking, "Did you find her?" I explained that I'd heard a response nearby. We started shining our flashlights around, and that's when we saw it, a sheer drop-off just behind those bushes. If I had rushed in, I would have surely fallen and broken my neck. There were no tracks, no signs of anyone being there. I pulled out my radio to report this, but before I could, it crackled to life. Our search leader was on the line with good news. They'd found the old lady. She was over 1.5 miles away from us. We were relieved and even forgot about the strange voices. But as we turned to head back to the base, I could almost swear I heard behind me, "Where are you? I'm here," spoken in my own voice. That wasn't my only strange experience. Another time, a 4-year-old girl went missing in the woods. We searched everywhere, expanded our search area, brought in dog teams, even used drones. No sign of her. A week passed and hope was fading. On the 12th day, when we were almost sure we were looking for a body, a miracle happened. A group found the girl. She was clean, not bitten by bugs, well-fed and cheerful. How could a 4-year-old survive 12 days in the woods like that? The girl said she found a little house on the second night, with a kind but scary-looking old lady who lived there. The lady had a black cat and a leg that didn't bend. She fed the girl and took care of her. When the girl wanted to go back to her mom, the old lady eventually let her go, promising to teach her many interesting things if she stayed. We went to find that house, wanting to thank the old lady, but we only found an old abandoned shack, uninhabitable for 50 years. There were no signs of recent living, except some black fur inside. How the girl survived, who the old lady was, remains a mystery. Then there was the time we were searching for a mushroom picker. We found some tracks and followed them. They led us to a riverbank, where the tracks became clearer and smaller, like a woman's. But the toes were spread apart and had what looked like claw marks. We followed these strange tracks to a tall pine tree where they stopped. We thought maybe someone had climbed the tree to escape a wild animal, but the tree was smooth with branches high up. There were scratch marks on the bark. We returned to the river and continued searching. A few hours later, we heard that the missing man had found his way to the road and was safe. We never figured out what left those tracks. They didn't match any wild animals I knew of. There was also a strange case in a remote village. A 17-year-old boy went missing after going fishing early one morning. We barely managed to reach the village. Luckily, a handler with a search dog joined us. The dog started leading us through thick underbrush toward the sound of women singing and laughing. We thought we'd ask them if they'd seen the boy. The dog rushed toward the voices, barking. We struggled through the underbrush to the riverbank, but the voices had disappeared. The dog led us to the edge of the water where we found the boy, lying on the bank, his legs in the water, only wearing his underwear, and covered in sand and small bruises, like from pinching. We pulled him out. He was alive but unconscious. When he came to, he told us he had seen beautiful girls swimming in the river and was about to join them when he noticed their sharp teeth like pike. They had no clothes on the bank, which was strange. As he hesitated, the girls grabbed his legs and pulled him into the water, laughing and showing their sharp teeth. He struggled and blacked out, probably saved by the dogs barking. We found no tracks of the girls, just the boys' fishing gear. You might think he imagined it, but both I and the handler heard the singing and laughter as we approached. One of the scariest things that happened to me happened while searching for a girl who had gotten separated from her group on a hike. We were working late because the dogs had picked up the trail. When we found her, she was lying in a ball under a large rotted log. She had no shoes and no bag. She was in shock. There were no injuries, so we were able to walk to the base on our own. As we walked, the girl kept looking back and asking us why that big man with the black eyes was following us. We didn't see anyone, so we wrote it off as an eerie symptom of shock. But the closer we got to the base, the more anxious the girl became. She asked us to make the man stop making faces. At one point, she stopped, turned around and started yelling somewhere in the woods, asking us to leave her alone. She didn't want to go with the man and didn't want to give us to him. Then we managed to get her to keep walking, but strange noises started coming from around us, almost like a cough, but more rhythmic and deep, like it was an insect. I don't know how to properly describe it. When we were at the edge of the base, the girl turned to me. Her eyes were as big as they could be in a person. She touched my shoulder and said, "He asked me to tell you to go faster. He doesn't like the look of the scratch on your neck." I had a very small scratch on the bottom of my neck, but it wasn't visible under my collar, so I have no idea how the girl saw it. Immediately afterward, there was a strange coughing sound next to me. My soul almost went to my heels. I hurried the girl along, trying not to show how scared I was. I was happy when we got out of there. Several times I had to go out to search with dogs, and they led me straight to the cliffs. Not mountains, not even high rocks. Straight, sheer cliffs with no ledges to grab onto. It's always confusing. In these cases, we usually find the person on the other side of the cliff or several kilometers away from the trail. I'm sure there must be some explanation, but it's a strange one for sure. Another case involved finding a dead body. A 9-year-old girl fell down a berm and landed on a withered tree. The incident itself is horrific, but I'll never forget her mother's scream when she learned what had happened. She saw the body bag being loaded into the car and let out the most heartbreaking scream I've ever heard. It was as if her whole life was falling apart, piece by piece, as if a part of her had died with her daughter. I heard from another search and rescue officer that she committed suicide a few weeks later. She couldn't live without her daughter.